Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for accommodating me despite your busy schedule. Period. New line. Hare Krishna. Chant, chant, chant. Try getting up at 4:30 tomorrow. You need to sleep also.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Prabhupada.
एक मिनट लाइट ठीक से.
Okay, so Khyati is going to join us.
Yeah, she's just coming.
How are you doing today?
First time I am coming first.
Today you're going to have your way because you made it to the Bhagavad Gita class. Okay, so now that we have you here, I'm going to start broadcasting on Facebook. So just give me a few seconds, hopefully, to just do that. Today we are going to do to verse number 11, right?
Yes.
Are we done with 10 enough? Paryaptam?
Oh, Paryaptam.
Hare Krishna, ma'am.
Hare Krishna, Priti Radhika, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
So we are broadcasting here on Facebook. So I'd like to welcome those who are watching us on the Facebook as well as those who are here on the Zoom call. And we will get started. So I'll start sharing my screen and I will share the screen that's going to show us the Bhagavad Gita verse. So let me see where that screen is. That's the, okay. Let's see, I'll have to do that again. Okay, so let's go back again and try to share. Here, so how are you all doing today?
Good. It's just too cold.
It's just too cold. It's cold over there?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
good.
very cold.
It's getting to be a little bit warm here in
Uh-huh.
Foster City, which is usually a cold place.
Yeah.
But I know your area is hot as well as cold, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it gets extremes. It gets the extremities.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's just quickly check over here that are we going live? Okay. For some reason your camera was not oriented right, but now I think you have done it. Okay. So let's see. All right. Just bear with me, huh? Okay. Hare Krishna, Neha. So glad to see you on the call. Neha Mataji is joining us from India. And so she'll be in the watching mode and not be able to read, but we will get started now. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. And I'd also like to welcome Rohit Kumar Prabhu, who's watching us on Facebook. I'm so glad, Rohit, that you're feeling well now and you're able to join these classes. Good. And welcome Varshana Mataji on the Zoom call.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Okay. So in the order of appearance, we'll go with Neeral Prabhu first, and then followed by Preeti Radhika. And of course, when I say Neeral, then Kathy gets included there as well. And and then Varshana Mataji there. Okay, so let's get going. Start with the first verse from Sri Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. All yours, Neeral Prabhu.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in a military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
Text 3. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple of the son of Drupad. Text 4. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhīma and Arjuna, great fighters like Yudhana, Virata and Drupad.
There are also great, heroic, powerful fighters like Dashtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kunti Bhoj, and Sepya. There are the mighty Yuddhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Okay, I'm going to scroll Varshana Mataji. Yeah, just hold on. Yeah, there we go. What happened to Varshana?
Text.
Varshana Mataji, Dandavat pranam. How is she?
Text. Yes, Mataji.
Okay, please go ahead. Your turn to read.
Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Dandavat pranam.
Text 7. Yes, Mataji. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are specially qualified to lead my military force. Text 8. There are personalities like you.
Oh, we lost her. Okay, we are now seeing Suyash Prabhu, and I think he seems to be on some other planet.
I'm in Iceland.
Are you in planet Pacifica?
Vaishnavi Mataji is back.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Varshana Mataji is back. Okay, Varshana Mataji. She's sort of back and still not back. Something like that.
Can I
There
just
are
complete that text,
personalities
right?
like you, Bhīṣma, Karan, Krita, Ashama, Vikran, and the son of Somadatta called Bhurishwa, who are always victorious in battle. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Suyash
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Text 9. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. Text 10. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by Grandfather Bhīṣma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
Okay, all of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhīṣma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Text 12. Then Bhīṣma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the father of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy. Khyati.
After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya, Arjuna blew the Devdatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell called the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadev blew the Sughosha and Manipushpak. The great archer, the king of
Can I talk?
the great fighter Shikhandi, with Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others. O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shell.
The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the son of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjun, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the son of Dhritarashtra drawn in the military array, Arjun then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
Varshana? Varshana?
Yes, Mataji. Text 21, 22. Yes, Mataji. In between the sound went, Mataji, couldn't hear. Text 21, 22. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Text 23. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Hare Krishna.
Text 24. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Text 25. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here.
Scrolling up here, text number 26 from first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There, Arjun could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning."
I am now unable. You can scroll up. That's fine.
Okay.
I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of Kesi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness.
O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield. O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
Scrolling up. Varshana Mataji's screen is frozen. She's having technical difficulties today. Can you hear me, Varshana Mataji?
Text,
Okay, good. Something is wrong. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Maybe it's me.
text 37. Yes, I can hear you, Mataji. Text 37. Mataji.
Yes. Go ahead, Varshana. I can hear you. Oops. Okay, Suyash Prabhu, you go ahead, and when she comes back, we'll continue with Varshana Mataji.
Text 37-38. O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying family, engage in these acts of sin? Text 39. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family become involved in religion.
Varshana?
May
Yeah.
I read 40 and
Yes.
41?
Yes, please. Yeah.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of a family become polluted, and from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Rashni, comes unwanted progeny. An increase in unwanted population certainly causes a hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 42. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapon in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisted on the battlefield.
Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
Haribo! So what did you just finish? Reading through a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And today's verse is verse number?
11.
Text number 11. So are we done with 10?
Yes.
Paryaptam?
Paryaptam.
Paryaptam? You have to think twice about the word paryaptam, right? Because it can mean two opposite things, right? Paryaptam, aparyaptam. Okay. So let's go to text number 11. And whose turn is it to read?
It's mine.
Yours?
It's
Okay.
mine. Yeah. Ayaneṣu cha sarveṣu yathā-bhāgam avasthitāḥ bhīṣmam evābhirakṣantu bhavantaḥ sarva evahi.
Varshana, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Oh, okay. Just give me a second. I forgot to switch off the music which is coming in the background. Are you able to hear some music in the background?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Yes,
better.
Mataji.
Yeah. If it happens, then let me know next time. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because that also adds to the load. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Varshana. Give us the synonyms, please.
Ayaneṣu in the strategic points, cha also, sarveṣu everywhere, yathā-bhāgam as differently arranged, avasthitāḥ situated, bhīṣmam unto Grandfather Bhīṣma, certainly, evābhirakṣantu should give support, bhavantaḥ you, sarve all respectively, evahi certainly. Hare Krishna.
Okay, good.
Translation: all of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhīṣma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of army.
Duryodhan, after praising the prowess of Bhīṣma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So, in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhīṣma Dev was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must specially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes not leave their strategic positions and allow the army to break the phalanx. Duryodhan clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhīṣma Deva. He was confident of the full support of Bhīṣma Dev and Dronacharya in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife Draupadi, in her helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice while she was being forced to appear naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for Pandavas, he hoped that these generals would now completely give it up, as they had done during the gambling performances. Very on. Pretty heavy purport, huh?
Yes.
Mhm.
Thoughts, reflections, comments, suggestions?
Can we go to the actual verse? Sorry.
One word's coming up.
I think Duryodhana is looking for, from the past behavior, he's extrapolating in the present, right? That before Dronacharya and Bhishma didn't do anything, so they will now also will give full support to him. Which is like, you have done it once, you have to do it again, kind of demand.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. And that is how that's the algorithm on which the mind also operates, right?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that point up.
And also, it's interesting how Srila Prabhupada, like in on Duryodhan's actions, he can dive deeper into like what was his main diplomatic nature or thought associated with every little thing that he said.
Isn't it interesting?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And that kind of also brings to light a couple of things. And one of the things that we read while we were reading the chapter, and that is that see, what Vyasdev wrote was the Sanskrit, right?
Oh.
And then just yesterday we saw that Sanskrit can be interpreted in so many ways, and even if that is not there, even if we are not talking about being interpreted in so many ways, we still have this, that it has to be interpreted, and which Srila Prabhupada is doing. And that brings, and let me just go back to the verse, because I think if since we are reading this scrutinizingly, we should just do that. So here in verse number 43, Arjuna is saying, "O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard from disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell." Right? So this is very important, that what yeah. So what is very important is that Arjuna is not making when it is something strong, right? He's not just he's not making a statement just like that. He's saying that I have heard by disciplic succession.
May I call you after half an hour?
So, so he's saying that I've heard by disciplic succession. So this disciplic succession is very important, right? What is disciplic succession? That you hear from a chain of gurus, right? And each of them is faithful to what is being told to them by their previous acharya. So the fact that Prabhupada goes in deeper into these verses and brings out stuff and angles that we had not even looked at when we were just reading the plain verse in Sanskrit, right? So that is why the purports to the Bhagavad Gita, that and Bhagavatam even more so, and other books that Srila Prabhupada has written add so much of value, right? And that's what makes the book bulky and could be intimidating to some. But then what is the use of just reading the same verse again and again? And people could come and say that, I have read the Bhagavad Gita 50 times, or I read the whole Bhagavad Gita every day. I'm just reading the verses. Well, you're just, reading it like a parrot without understanding what it means, right? So it's better to go slow and, go deeper into it. And how Prabhupada is kind of like, revealing the mind, right? He's revealing the mind of Duryodhana, because he learned it from the spiritual masters, from the disciplic succession. So that's why he was able to tell us all this, right? And then as I was telling you yesterday, that sometimes acharyas might have a difference of opinion, like how Prabhupada had translated immeasurable, apariyaptam, to be immeasurable, but Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, interprets in a different way to bring on one more aspect of it, of Duryodhana's shrewdness, that how with the choice of one word, he's able to, convey to two different sections of people in front of him two very different meanings, like that, right? Okay, what else? What else do you think is that comes across from this, that stuck your head, right?
Another thing I noticed is that we are devotees or not, we are responsible for our actions. So like Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, like especially Bhishma Dev, he was a devotee, but since he was fighting on the wrong side, he still had to bear the burnt of picking the wrong side. So we have to be careful in our choices we make.
Yes, it's a very valid, very, very well point that you have brought out, that you have to make the choices, right? And so along the same lines of Bhishma Deva doing this, right? Couple of things. We know that Bhishma Deva is a Mahajan, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are 12 Mahajans. Can we name some few of them?
Prahlad Maharaj,
Prahlad,
Ambarish Maharaj.
mm-hmm. Prahlad is there, a little bit louder. And I had muted Varshana Mataji actually because of the phone call, but now I'm unmuting her. Yeah.
I
So
said Vidurji.
Vidur is there. Okay.
Ambrish Maharaj.
Okay. Keep giving names, yeah, of things you.
Division.
Vibhishan, okay.
Just so
Anyone can apply to the position of Mahajan. We'll declare the results momentarily.
Maharaj Prithu.
Maharaj Prithu, okay.
So Mahajan
Janak.
is the one
Janak.
who
Janak, okay, good.
Maharaj is great people.
Huh?
Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada. No doubt about that. Well, so the Mahajans get discussed in the Srimad
Shukra Goswami, Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva, okay. So here, these get discussed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I've just brought the verse up to you. Let me know. Can you see that verse?
Yes.
Okay, good, right? So what it says, Swayambhaur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manuhu Prahalado Janako Bhīṣmo Balir Vaya Sakir Vayam. So now you know whether the candidates that you were proposing made it to the list or not. Okay, so the list is that Lord Brahma, right? So Brahma is amazing, right? Brahma, his son Narad, right? Lord Shiva, who also took birth from Brahma, in one form. 4 Kumaras, they are Brahma's sons, right? Then Kapila, he comes later. And then we have Swambhuva Manu, right? Who's also Brahma's son, he's created by his mind. Then we have Prahlad Maharaj, who comes much later. We have Janak Maharaj. We have Grandfather Bhīṣma. We have Bali Maharaj, as one of you pointed out. Then, of course, Sukdev Goswami you mentioned, right? So these are the 12 Mahajans. So if we go back to our verse here, so we know that Bhīṣma Pitama is a Mahajan. He's called a Mahajan. Then how come this Mahajan is on the wrong side? How can he just say that I'm...
But I think if it's Mahajan, it means that they are knower of religion and most of the time they do it. But there could be times, I mean, if they're coming as a human, sometimes they would have done some wrong, I would think.
But I think that is what Bhīṣma Pitama is known for, right? Bhīṣma means to take a difficult task in hand, right? So he first chose the vow for celibacy, and then he chose to protect Hastinapur irrespective of what happens. And I think that was during the time when Indraprasth, they wanted to separate the Indraprasth so that Pandavas can be protected, right? At that time he took this vow, and to fulfill that vow he had to like stay silent during this case, and that is why he's also fighting. So he's very ethical, but he's not able to break his own decision when he knows that it is not serving for the greater goods, right?
Yeah.
That is why I feel his name is also Bhīṣma. I mean original name is Devdatta, but
So Devavrata. So and we know, so this is one, yes, correct. This is one of the reasons, this is one of the austere things that he's doing. And then even before that, because of which he got the name Bhīṣma, was another very, austere thing that he said. He vowed that he will do.
He will remain celibate.
He will remain celibate, most difficult thing to do in the world, right? So that's why he got the name Bhīṣma. So he's a Mahajan, he's doing all these things, and he's a devotee of the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam, when you start reading Bhagavatam, you will know that he is a devotee of the Lord. First canto itself, you'll come to know that. So why was he behaving like that? So again, remember, Krishna says, why does he come here? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So whenever there's a rise in a religion, I come here, like that, right? He's saying that. So this whole thing is being planned and arranged by Krishna. So this act of Bhīṣma Deva, that I am tied to the Sinhasana, I'm tied to the throne of Hastinapur, I have to protect Hastinapur, and taking that kind of a serious vow from which you're not able to get out, and because of that you end up doing all these kind of things, that being on the wrong side is actually demonstrating to all of us that although I may be a Mahajan, although I may be a very strong person, right, Bhīṣma, and I can do severe of austerities, no matter, all those things are there. But if I am on the wrong side, then I will lose.
Hmm.
If you are, no matter how good you are, you have to be on the right side. Okay. And then, so he's a Mahajan. Now, one more thing that comes to my mind is that, okay, he's a Mahajan. And oh, by the way, today my 7:15 call got moved to later in the day. So that's why I'm able to stay a little longer, although it's Friday. So, so he's a Mahajan. And what does Duryodhan say? Now let's look, and I'm going to start sharing the screen one more time here. I also wanted to bring a few more things there. So Duryodhan is saying, ayaneṣu cha sarveṣu yathā-bhāgam avasthitāḥ bhīṣmam evābhirakṣantu. So they are saying that, you just take care and you protect Grandfather Bhīṣma. So you stay in your strategic positions, like how the military phalanx is laid out. There'll be some key people inside, and then, that's how they do it. So he's saying that you stay ayaneṣu in your strategic positions, you stay so that, and don't allow anybody to enter into the Chakravyuh, so that Bhīṣma, Grandfather Bhīṣma, who's fighting inside, can stay protected. So people are protecting. So now the question is that Grandfather Bhīṣma is a Mahajan. He's a devotee of Lord Krishna. So is this Vaishnav Seva that is happening?
No. He's
And
doing
why not? You are right. But
He's
why not?
doing it just for a protection of his
His
own
interest.
military force, right? He's not doing it to serve Bhishma Dev.
Yes. So you see,
He
apparently it might look like, oh, but we served, but intention. What was your intention with which you were doing the activity that you were doing, right? Otherwise, if you really had to serve Grandfather Bhīṣma, then listen to Grandfather Bhīṣma and learn from his examples in life, right? He gave up. Grandfather Bhīṣma gave up his rights to rule, right? And he also gave up, a married life. He did all that. So learn from that instead of, doing what Duryodhan was doing. He was and Dhritarashtra, usurping kingdom that belongs to somebody else. So that's something that we need to keep in mind, and that the real service to the spiritual master, real service that you're doing, is to do what the others are instructing you to do, or they want to do. For example, I've noticed that sometimes there's a party, and so people start descending, like it's a dinner party, people start coming, some come early, some come a little late, like that. And then most of the times the ladies will tell the hostess that, can we help you? How can we help you in the kitchen? So she'll say, okay, fine, do this and do that. Can you help me roll the puris? And she's doing things, she's laid out certain things, she's doing things a certain way. So when we are supposed to go and help them, we just help her. But instead of that, we will come and tell her that, why are you doing this way? You should actually do it this way. And I do it this way. No, the help is, give them help what they have asked for. They have set a certain thing in the kitchen. They have got their own mechanism of rolling the puris. If you are helping them, just go and, do that. Unless they ask you for, or tell you that, I always have difficulties rolling out puris. Can you tell me a better way? If they ask for you, then you give like that. Unless you're the spiritual master, then you can give unsolicited advice. So we have to keep that in mind. And then also give what they want. And Prabhupada also says, and Vaishnav Guru also says that in his lectures, that if your spiritual master says, give me a glass of water, you don't give him a glass of milk because he asked for a glass of water. A milk will not quench the thirst. So you have to follow instructions very, very carefully. Okay. Now, one more thing I wanted to point out, and that is why we read a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I mean, we are trying to go deep into the Shastras, and we could just start the day by saying, why waste those 6, 7, 8 minutes that we take to read the whole chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Like, why don't we just pick up the verse that we're going to discuss and go deep into that and do it? So the thing is that reading the chapter again and again allows you to connect all the verses, and read them as one connection. So let's see what's happening. So Dhritarashtra asked Sanjay some questions about the Mahabharata war. And then Sanjay is explaining. So how is he explaining? He's saying that Duryodhana goes there and he starts looking at the army and so on and so forth, right? And then he starts he's talking to his spiritual master Dronacharya, and then he's talking first about the enemy. So he's talking about the people who are there, and then he comes and starts talking about his enemies, right? His army, sorry. And then we continue. He's talking about their strength being immeasurable, and then also he tells everybody else to give support to Grandfather Bhīṣma, right? So up until now, what is happening is the talking is happening, right? Majorly, Dhritarashtra is talking, Sanjay is talking. Then we see a little bit about the action, and which is that he's saying that little action in the sense that he's describing that Duryodhana went to his teacher. So there's somebody's walking, somebody's going, somebody's talking. A little bit of an action thing is there. Otherwise, and then there's talk. Text 11, talk. And then 12, we will see then Bhīṣma, the great valiant grandsire, right? Tatha sanjayanam harsham, guru vriddha pitama, singanadam vinadyoche. Then he takes out the conch shell and he blows like that. So that action is beginning. And something to note, and as we go on, we read about the conch shells are being blowing, and then everybody else starts blowing the conch shell, and then it becomes a tumultuous affair there. And then, and I really, really like it. It's like, it's like a Bollywood movie, so there's this, it starts with a chase, right? So you suddenly find that there's a young boy and he stole something, and then the rest of the village is running after him. He's running and he's running and he's running. And then suddenly in the next scene, he becomes a big Amitabh Bachchan, like that. So here, and the police is after him now, this time in that frame. So here also, we see that, Duryodhana is talking, this is happening, that is happening, this one is blowing the conch shell, people are there, we're blowing the conch shell, and then suddenly a big chariot arrives, and on there is Krishna, he's arriving on the chariot, and Arjun is there, like, you arrives, like, our great hero, like that. So you read the Gita, you can read that in that mood also, because there's a lot of Veeras in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And so here it is. And then after that, Arjun will say, you put the chariot in between the two armies because I want to see it. So up until now, Duryodhana was seeing and doing that. Now Arjun says, you do it, and he goes there, and that's it. He sees all of them, and then the Arjun Vishad starts. He gets confused and perplexed, and he's completely like, oh my goodness, bewildered. And then we start hearing about the symptoms that he undergoes like that, and then he starts explaining, right? So there are now Arjun. So Sanjay is narrating what Arjun is talking. All the way till the end, he's there. It's better for me not to fight. Why should I just fight? He said, cast aside his bow and arrows, and goes there back of the chariot, and he goes and sits there, right? So something to note over here is that this particular verse that we are doing today, right, 11, is where Duryodhana stops speaking, stops talking. After that, he will not talk ever in the Bhagavad Gita. He's done enough of his talks, right? So let's go back and see what Duryodhana has talked about. First thing, what he said?
Oh, my teacher, behold the great army.
Yes, and that was a double-edged sword he had used, right? Remember? Dhrištadhyumna, he was scared about Dhrištadhyumna, and we read that story. Okay. And then he started calling out the strong people on the other side. Right? Bhima, Arjuna, Yuyudhano, Viratascha, Drupadascha, Maharati, Dhrištiketu, Chekitana, Kashi Rajasya, Viryavan, Purujit Kunti Bhojascha, Sabascha, Narapungavaha. Right? They said that. So he's counting people over there. Right? Yudhamanyu cha vikranta uttam ajasya veeravan swabhadro drapadeyascha sarva eva maharata. He says that. He's counted all of that. And then he jumps and he's starting counting about his whole thing. Who did he forget to mention? Krishna. So you see that and now we go back to before the war days, and we know how he got the Narayani army on his side, right? So he got that. And Krishna is not fighting. When the choice was there, he got the Narayani army, and then Arjuna got Krishna. So when Duryodhana is seeing Krishna as a non-warrior, right? When he's looking at Krishna and he's saying, okay, when Krishna is not fighting, then to Duryodhana, Krishna is nothing. Right? Krishna is nothing. And that was a big mistake in his understanding, because Krishna said that I will not fight. He did not say that I will not advise. I will not guide. And later on in the Bhagavad Gita, when we come to verse number 10, Krishna will tell you that I am also the gambling of the cheats. And Prabhupada says in the purpose that, of all the cheating that you can do, gambling is the highest cheating. And so Krishna is equating himself to gambling of the cheats, which is saying like, I'm the best of the cheaters. And so that's what he does, right? He just goes and tells that, okay, go and ask him for the arrows. And when Duryodhana is going to meet Gandhari, and Gandhari is about to remove the thing from her eyes, so that, from her power of the eyes that were closed and the chastity that she had, if she looks at her son, her son's whole body will become immune to, being attacked. And then what does he say that, and she asks him to come naked. And what does Krishna say? Hey, that's fine. Your mom will tell you to go naked, but, put on something at least. And that's it. That became the cause of his demise later on. So we have to understand he did not get that biggest point, which was something that Arjuna understood. And that was his choices that he made, right? So
Mataji, but that is the mood for like many people in this world, right? That they see Krishna as like not even existing. Of course, we observe it from like everything from the materialistic point of view, right? What is present over there. And like as in the Mahabharata war, Krishna was like there to guide and advise, but it is possible for those people who will be able to take advice only if they are surrendered to Krishna, right? So in the like, if we compare the analogy of Mahabharata into our own life, we have to see like, are we seeing Krishna everywhere and taking the advice or not? Or are we looking just from the materialistic point of view, that what is there here and what is there on what is in my benefit and what other people have that I don't have?
Exactly. And Duryodhana is seeing Krishna as a zero, but Krishna is a one, right? And you could be as many zeros as you like, but the moment you put the one before it, then you become, So the more zeros that you are, the more humble that you are, the more you think I'm nothing, then the more, you will progress, and the more your value will go up by adding that one. Like if you are 6 zeros and then you add a one, you are a millionaire in devotional service. So an interesting point that you brought about advisors, right? And in the material world. And I would like to welcome Bhagyashri Mataji. She joined us. I was talking to her last night and she said she'd like to join us. So welcome, Bhagyashri, to the call. And so about the advisors, right? Even in the material world, I still remember one of my friends back in India. He used to talk about, he used to work in a company, and in the annual meeting, when the time came for the board of directors to address the public and talk about how the company was doing and thank everybody he was done, he used to be very impressed. He used to say that the board of directors, when they start their thank you note, they start by thanking the advisors. It was amazing. Again, they're not thanking this one, they're not thanking the technical guru, they're not talking the marketing VP. They start with the advisors, and which was such a nice thing that we thought that. So don't undervalue the advisor, because the advisor is in the position of advising because of the experience that they have, right? So when the advice comes to us, we should take it. After all, Krishna went with a good advice, right? To say that don't fight, but nobody took that advice. So yeah, so that's what Duryodhan did. And yes, people in the world, most of the people do not see Krishna, even if Krishna comes in front of you. And that's why Prabhupada says in so many of his lectures that you say, I don't believe in Krishna. You say that, show me Krishna. Do you have eyes to see Krishna? See, in Mahabharata, many did not have eyes to see Krishna. So Krishna was there. Otherwise, the wonderful thing is that when you're dying, if you see Krishna, then you go to Krishna's planet, because you're looking at him, and that's how Bhīṣma goes, right? Krishna goes there. Then he's about to leave his body, like that. So yeah, you really need the eyes. And then how will you get those eyes? Those eyes you will get by devotional service. And how will you get devotional service? By getting a spiritual master, and he'll ultimately open your eyes. Chakshurun militam yena. He will open your eyes. He'll give you that, so that you'll be able to see Krishna. Not only here, you'll see Krishna everywhere. That which we are doing in our Bhagavad Gita classes that we do on every Tuesday, like that. Yeah. So anything else that you'd like to point out and discuss? Yeah.
One thing that came to my mind, it may not be a right interpretation, but in text 11, as Prabhupada says, though Bhishma and Vyasadeva, a devotee of Lord Krishna, were on the other side, they were the most important. So is it a part of cheat organized by Lord Krishna that they are making, even though Bhishma is the oldest, he's making them feel like Krishna is making, Antaryami is making Duryodhana feel, okay, those are the oldest, but the best chance of us to win. But on the other hand, it is a cheat forwarded by Lord Krishna to get them entangled into that.
Everything is possible, and we know that Krishna is in the hearts as the super soul guiding us. So yes, he sees everything, and he will, sometimes he'll take over. Yeah. In this precise situation, did he do that or not do that? I don't know, because I haven't read that, but it is possible. At least we know the mechanisms that the super soul is there in the heart, and he does, he does guide. I mean, normally the super soul is just observing. And most of the times the super soul will give guidance to a devotee of the Lord, right? Then he starts taking over your life, right? But he's a cheat. He can make you do, like we talked at Indra Asana or Nidra Asana, right? For Kumbhakaran, we did that. So, and he also has got his own agents who can act on his behalf. He doesn't have to come down, like Saraswati did that, Kumbhakaran, like that. Yeah. Yeah, and it could also be just Duryodhan's polluted sense of thinking. We can speculate as much as we want, right? But we go by what the acharyas say, and till we find something there from some acharya, read it. We just go by what Prabhupada has stated here, or some other acharya has stated. Yeah. So that is why, now you're seeing that as you're going deeper into the Bhagavad Gita, now you have to look out here and there and see that how much more that you can get. And let me look at, find out more from our disciplic succession, what is happening, what are they saying there. Yeah. And the bottom line is that there's no limit to how much that you can go, deeper. It's a fathomless ocean. But all along the line, we also have to understand that this should not be an intellectual exercise. reading the Bhagavad Gita should not be just an intellectual exercise. There is so much that we can apply. So, and that's what our mood should be when we're reading these verses, is that, what do I take from here? And where is and also to identify the Duryodhana in all of us. We do that sometimes, right? And so read from these books about the consequences of what Duryodhana does. And we also want to go through those consequences or not, like that. But yeah, valid point. Yeah. Yeah. So Duryodhana is shrewd, and in that situation where he's the king and he has to be shrewd. But the thing is that all that is fine, all that you have to do, but you should not leave Krishna. You should not, stop taking advice, proper advice that comes from the spiritual master. And that's why the kings of the old, they were known as Raj Rishis, because they were not just Rajas, they were also Rishis, which means that they had a big spiritual element also in them. And from where was that big spiritual element coming? That was coming from the Raj Gurus, the Brahmanas who were appointed as advisors. So they are advisors, and you're not listening to advisors, then, you are kind of on your own. Right? And if you listen to your advisor, and no matter what kind of an advisor it is, I mean, the best advisor is a spiritual advisor, but even in the mundane things, you need advisors. And we see Chanakya Pandit was an advisor, right? And the one who listened to his advice was successful in whatever he was trying to do. But if you're getting the wrong advice, even if the wrong advice is coming from your spiritual master, then you should abandon that spiritual master. And we talked a little bit about that. I don't know in which class I talked about it, maybe not in this one. But the greatest example is of the Mahajan. And he's called as a Mahajan for this reason. I mean, when we talked about the list of Mahajans, Bali Maharaj is there. Bali Maharaj is born in a demonic family. Why are we listing him as a Mahajan? And that's because he gave up his spiritual master. He abandoned his spiritual master, and because his spiritual master was giving him wrong advice. The spiritual master was telling him not to, go for Vishnu. He was telling him, look here, that this little Vaman is actually Vishnu, and he's come here, he's asking you for this 3 steps of land. Don't promise him. There's some trick. Again, we see Krishna doing his tricks, right? Don't do that. Don't, so when a spiritual master is not able to deliver you in the right direction, then you should, give up. Tyag. And actually it comes to that you should give up, not listen. Actually, not in that way, but in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, where Shraddha-devi is explaining things to his sons, he says that he lists 5 kinds of people, and he says that these 5 kinds of people should not be who they are. And he says a spiritual master, a father, a mother, a husband, and a demigod. A person should not become any of these if they are not able to guide the people who are under them back to Godhead. So Prahlad Maharaj, again, a demon, right? His father was not able to guide him back to Godhead, so he did not go with his father. His father tried to teach him politics and, bring him into the, day to day, but every time he would just go for Vishnu like that. So he didn't go with his father. Bharat Maharaj, and Bharat, it's funny, both the Bharats actually abandoned their mother. The Bharat from Ramayana abandoned his mother Kekai after she made the wrong decisions. He was very angry, right? Not on the side of his mother at all, because the mother was not doing things to help him go back to Godhead. It was the other way around. And then the other Bharat that we know, the famous Bharat with the what is that? With the deer episode, right? So in his next life, when he becomes a deer, he does not drink the milk of his mother, because he knows that if I take nourishment from a deer mother, I will just get, I will continue to be in the body of a deer. So he abandons the mother in that sense, doesn't drink the milk, and leaves his body like that. So there are instances like that, and so people have to do that. But when advice is coming from good people, and when advice is coming from none other than Krishna, then you are in safe hands, like that. So it's 7:26. It's time for all of you to go to work, and for me also. So with your permission, I will take leave of those who are watching us on the Facebook as well as those who are watching us here on Zoom. Thank you so much for making time to come to these calls. So stay with Krishna. Tomorrow, Saturday, we take time off from these classes because we go and do something even better. We apply, and that is we go and join the Japa, Make Japa Great Again, which starts at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. It will be broadcast on all the channels and Facebook channel as well of ISKCON of Silicon Valley, as well as Vaisheshika Prabhu's Fan the Spark page. So please do join that in the morning. And if you're available in the afternoon today, then at 3:30 in the afternoon, we will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, where we are interestingly, in the situation which is post Mahabharata, so post all this Bhagavad Gita, and where we are dealing with Ashwatthama. So if you have time, then at 3:30 in the afternoon today, you can join the Zoom call, or you can join on a phone, just be on the phone. You can ping me. I will give you the phone numbers, or you can just watch it on Facebook also. We broadcast that on Facebook also, right? But nothing to beat the interactivity that we get here. So feel free to join. And even if you can't speak, if you just join and you are there and I see you, it is my good fortune to be able to see devotees in these days when we are all in lockdown and social distances and things like that. This is the only way we can get devotee association. So thank you so much for giving.
Also, Mataji, tomorrow I'll be Bhakti Vriksh on 5
Yes,
o'clock.
that I leave to Khyati Mataji and you to announce.
So we'll just send it on WhatsApp. So tomorrow same time on Saturday evening 5 o'clock.
Yes.
We'll start the Bhakti. That's specific time.
Awesome. Yes, we will do that. So we have a Bhakti Vriksh 5 o'clock p.m. Yeah. So we have a WhatsApp group where we announce all these kinds of events that we do. So if you'd like to join these, then do let me know. You can post your request on Facebook to join that group. You can send me a text message, whatever works for you, you can do that. So be safe and be in Krishna consciousness. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. And let's beat Maya. Vanchikalpatarubhyascha kripa-sindhubhyevacha patititanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gopremanande
Hari Hari Bol.
Dandavat pranams. So we're going to end the live broadcast as well as the Zoom meeting. Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranams.